Hi everyone, my name is Isabelle, and today I will be introducing you to Antidote Dictionary. So before we continue, I would like to encourage you to look at Veronique's presentation about the history introduction of Antidote and also her presentation about the correcteur used in Antidote. So this is the interface of the software of Antidote, as you can see. Again, there are similar contents to the guide. So here on the left side, we have the English version of the program. And here we have the, here we have the French version of the program. So if we start up, let's analyze here to the left. What do we have for these different segments of the program? Firstly, we have the section of the definitions. So what is a definition? The definition is the information that is agreed upon for a certain word all over the world. And so in this section, a definition of a cat is a carnivorous member of the family Felidae, which includes a domestic cat as well as large wild cats. Then if we go into synonyms here, synonyms are different words for cat. Then we know about antonyms, which is the opposite. And here, cat doesn't necessarily have antonyms. However, if we write chien, which is dog in French, here we do have antonyms for chien. Now, let's go back to chat, cat. There's no antonyms for this one. However, there are some co-occurrences. In English, we call those guys combinations. So these are certain combinations, words that are paired up with the word cat quite often. For example, feral cat or stray cat, black cat, etc. In the semantic field, in French, champ lexical, so these are words associated with cat again. So same family, pretty much like the adjectives for cat, feline, feral, pet, stray, verbs, meow, purr, spay, etc. Now here we have the conjugaison, conjugation. Now there's no ways to conjugate cat yet that we know of, and so we don't have anything here in this section. Here we have the family, so words of the same family that fall under the same umbrella of the word basically, so a tomcat, kitty cat, etc. We have the quotation, the citation, so these are ways that cat was used in literature. And here, as you can see, it shows you which newspaper or periodical that it was used into. So if you click on it, you can actually get more information about these guys as well. And I would like to point out, these are reliable sources that they use. They don't just use a Wikipedia, for example. They do go in depth with when it comes to good sources and good ways to get information. Now here we have a history. So in this section we have basically the etymology or the history of a word. And so I don't know if you saw the first part of my videos, the part talking about the guide, but in the guide section, the history part talks about the history of languages, versus here in the dictionary, the history side talks more about the history of a word itself. So for example, how did we came to the word cat in English? Well, we came all the way from Latin, catus, and it made all its way from the late Latin to Old English, all the way to English, modern English, English slang, and even today Anglo-Norman English. So it is very interesting, again, if you like to learn languages and where the words are from. Now let's go back to definition. So let's analyze a little bit definition. It is divided here in categories, so you can have the cat as a noun, more the CAT as a computer axial tomography or computerized axial tomography. And this is a CAT scan. And then we have cat as a proper noun, the company, and etc. So definitions for cat, left side combining form. So it will show you how to use it in different ways. So nouns, adjectives, adverbs, verb, etc. Now, if we look at the definition right here, definition for cat, noun, in this little segment right here in black, we have zoology. So this is because the word is used in zoology. This is exactly where it indicates a category of use of the word. For instance, here we have culinary. So cat can be used in culinary purposes. The flesh of this animal consumed as food. And here in zoology, a carnivorous member of the family, which includes a domestic cat as well as wild cats. And so if you go down, you can also see different categories such as history, mythology, etc. Now, if we look up here in blue, it indicates regional usage, language levels, metaphorical ways of using the word cat. For instance, sometimes they will say it is familiar, it is from Belgium, it is figurative. In this word, cat can be used as an old-fashioned slang. A man or male friend, he's a cool cat, hang out with his cats. And so it is familier. In French, we use gars, mec. And so the great thing about this program as well is that when you look at the definition of a word for a translator, it can be very useful because if you click right here, hide translation, you can hide the translations in French. However, if you would like to see the translation of the word cat into French, you can just click this little guy here to the right. And here we have the translation of a cat, a félin, which is a big wild fauve. And so we can look up here, chat, we have chat, gars, mec. And so it is very good for translators in that regard because sometimes, yes, we go online for word reference or we also go on Reverso or other websites on the internet in order to find the correct translation of a word. However, the great thing about Antidote is you can just go into the definition dictionary and see right away that a jungle cat is un chat de la jungle or un chat des marais in French. So this has personally helped me quite a lot for my translation studies. I highly encourage you to take a look at this one. Now, if we look into the word chien in order to continue with the mark of the dictionary. So again, in black we have the usage, and here we have how it is indicated in regional language levels, metaphorical. Here in Quebec, chien is used in this way. However, here in red, in Quebec, it shows us it is used in the region of Quebec. However, in red it indicates if it is vulgar, pejorative, offending. And so it is in red in order to get our attention because they want us to, hey, this can also be a pejorative word, so please pay attention to this side. So here, a chien can be used as a policier. And it also shows if it is in UK or other places all around the world. Now, a great thing about Antidote is if you write the location of a destination, such as the Eiffel Tower, you can actually click on this little guy right here. Those are called cartographic link. So they are always in green, and there are 11,000 different locations that Antidote has programmed inside their software. So when you actually click on the link, it will bring you directly into Google Map and will show you right away the location of the Eiffel Tower. This is great if you're translating a text about various locations and you would like to understand exactly what the activity or the event was happening in the text. Say that we are being very specific, such as a thriller that says a murder happened on Avenue Gustave, and then a witness was seen on the Avenue Anatole France, and then you can look on the map and say, oh, this is where exactly it happened, and here's how I will translate these avenues in English. And so you can have a better understanding of the location of certain events from your translation. Now, if we click on the blue guy over here, it will bring us automatically to the UNESCO website. What is the UNESCO website? Well, it gives us some information about the location of Paris, of the Eiffel Tower. And so this is a great tool a great reference for parallel text, as UNESCO website allows us to read articles in both French and English. Some descriptions are written also in Arabic, Chinese, Russian, Spanish, Japanese, and Dutch. And so it is a great tool for translators because it also has media, news, maps, videos, complete information about the national heritage sites. And so if you go down, you can see a brief synthesis of what is Paris, what is the Eiffel Tower, and it also brings you to different media, activities, news, and links. So this is great if you'd like to have parallel text for what you're translating, and they are also highly reliable sources. Now, if we go back to our cat here in the definition, if we look here at the bottom of the page in blue, we have expressions, idioms, and proverbs. If we click on expression, we have all the different expressions in English and in French about a cat. So sometimes expressions, idioms, and proverbs can be quite difficult to translate. Personally, I find these are some of the most difficult text to translate. However, fortunately, Antidote has thought of giving us the translation of these expression, idioms, and proverb. Again, you can hide the translation if you wish, or you can see it. Has a cat got your tongue? Tu as perdu ta langue? Then we have all of these beautiful proverbs, idioms, and expression. We have what we call the indice de fréquence. This is the little bar over here. How often is this word used in English? If we see here, the word cat is quite often used. It is 64% use in English. Now, if we click, we can go into the history side of it, and it will tell us exactly how it was used in history, in the Old English version of it. So this is great to know as a translator if you should use a certain word. For example, if you're translating a document that uses a word and you're not certain if this is the word that you are looking for in a certain region of the world, how often is it used in certain places? And so if you look at the indice de fréquence, it will let you know how often it is used here in Canada. So it is very useful for various translations. Now, if we look right under here, we can see as well how we use it in the singular form and the plural. If we go into the French and we write chien, we also see a bit more detail for the précision of a word. And so in French, it shows us exactly in Latin how the word chien was used in the 11th century all the way to today. And so in the French section, it does bring us back in time. And it also shows us today the word chien is used in 62% of occurrences. Also in French, not only does it show us how to write chien in the singular and the plural form, but it also shows us how to use chien in the feminine and the feminine plural form. Now let's switch back to the English version. If we go into more on the right side for more details, we can click on the definition contains as dog. And over here we have different definitions for the word dog. For example, a pound is a place where dogs, cats, etc. that have been found in the street can be brought to. Also, this section, I would like to point your attention to this section translated as dog. This is a great tool if you're trying to translate a certain word. You can just click on it and see, oh, chien has been translated as such. And you can see exactly different ways of translating chien and the definition of these different translations for dog into chien. This is great if you wonder, hey, what is a P2? And you would like to get more information, you can click here, and also on the little I, it will give you a clear definition of different words. And it also shows you it is used in cuisine, it is a masculine noun, and this is a definition of a hot dog. Now let's go back. More details, you can also go into the rhymes right here. This is great if you're translating poetry because then you can have an idea how to make the word rhyme with dog. And it also shows you the frequency of the word of these words. Now, if you want to get more specific with poetry, you can even go into the number of syllables that you want. And you can choose different amount of syllables that you wish. Or you can also go by category, by alphabet, by nouns, verbs, adjectives, and so on. Here we also have anagrams with the word dogs. And we also have the amount of letters that we wish to have in our anagrams. And also again, how many letters would you like to have? And you can sort them in relevance, alphabetical order, category, number of letters, nouns, verbs, etc. Here, we also have the option of accessing Wikipedia, the Grand Dictionnaire Terminologique, Termium, or Google. This is a great reference if we are trying to get technical about certain translation. And as we already know, as translators, the Grand Dictionnaire Terminologique and Termium are by far some of the most used tools in translation. And this just goes to show you how reliable Antidote actually is. Now, if we go into the upper right corner, we can also reduce the text size or increase the text size. And we can also alternate between the dictionaries. If we click on this little arrow, it brings us into spelling. It will bring us into lexicon and different type of dictionaries. It will open another window though, so just be prepared for that part. If you just click the little hat, it will choose a random word in Antidote's dictionary, which can be quite fun as you can learn different words. And so just to finish and to wrap it up, you can also add certain words to your favorite. You can look at your history as well. You can add list if you wish. Also, you can print your document. You can create a new document. You can also copy, see previous, see the next. Or in tools, you can also go to the dictionary, the guide, the personal dictionaries that you can also create by yourself. And of course, you can go on the help button if you also need some help. Antidote has many functions, many features. I personally love Antidote because it is a great software with a lot of information. It is a great tool for translators as it can give you a lot of information about certain words to be translated. So I want to thank you for listening to my presentation and I wish you a happy translation.